recorded live in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Trivia Warfare. More than just a pub quiz, Trivia Warfare is your gateway to a worldwide trivia community. Join your hosts, Jonathan.
We just described Ric Flair as Neanderthal Man and Planet of the Apes.
Chris.
Yo, we going down to Sesame Street.
That's your impression of hardcore rap?
Carmela.
That would irritate the hell out. I'm like, I just want my groceries. My ice cream is melting.
Ben.
4 halogens in that list. Oh my God.
You were like, it's not the halogens. I'm like, no, Ben, no.
Those damn halogens got me again.
And the rest of the Trivia Warfare Army for another week of fun and games. Now here's your host, Jonathan Oakes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trivial Warfare. Welcome to the Pride episode. Yay! Woo! Very excited. Yeah. I've got a great group of people here with me today, starting with Mik Kelly. Hi, Mik.
Hi.
I've got Sutton Stewart. Hi, Sutton.
Hello.
Jay Borson.
Howdy, howdy.
And JP Adams. Hello.
Hello, how's everybody doing today?
I'm doing well. I want to go ahead and get to know everyone a little bit better. So we're going to go around and do that. Mik, we're going to start with you. Tell everyone who you are, where you're from, what you do, and something fun about yourself.
All right. So I'm Mik Kelly King. The hyphen's new. So
recently married?
Yes. Yes, recently gay married. I am from the great inland Northwest, coming from Spokane. I am a social worker by day, a napper by afternoon and evening. And something about me, my crowning trivia achievement is being the only person in a bar during a pub quiz that got the Even Stevens theme song. So that kind of also narrows down of what generation I am. But it's my crowning glory.
I love it. I'm so happy you're here. Sutton, let's go ahead and move on to you.
Sure, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Sutton Stewart. I live in Moorhead, Minnesota, right across the river from Fargo, North Dakota. I am an extension educator with Minnesota 4-H, and by day, by night, I have my own trivia thing that I run and try and do locally, but I've been able to at least host online for a while here, and that's usually my fun thing, but I guess my other fun thing, it is a summer season, and I'm a summer camp lifer. The first time I went to summer camp, I was, I think, 4 months old, and I went every year growing up. I worked at a summer camp, and actually I have a summer camp program coming up next week that I'll be headed off to. So summer camp, thick and thin, all the way through. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Jay.
Hi, Carmela.
Hi, Jay.
I love these moments that we have together. They're too few and far between. You're asking me the introductory questions, aren't you?
Yes.
It was who you are, what you did, as long as you love me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Jay Borson. I'm probably familiar to a fair number of listeners. It's the owner, operator, and head honcho at Liquid Courage Entertainment, both live and online trivia. I've been doing that nigh on 20 years now. It'll be 20 years in December, as a matter of fact. So I'm old, and I don't like that feeling. So thank you for not bringing it up. Based out of the Chicago area, and I think the fun fact I want to go with today is this is, I believe, my 14th podcast recording in the last 2 months. 8 of them have been with Carmela. One of them was with JP. I'm a serial guest addict, I guess.
We should do it more often, Jay, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Love talking to you. The rest of them seem nice, too.
And last but not least, JP.
Yeah, so hi, my name is JP. As Jay mentioned, I do also have a podcast as well because I am a general geek when it comes to many, many things. Check out the Geek Bracket if you want general geek trivia. You might also hear Carmela over there as well. Currently based out of Seattle, Washington. As far as fun fact, I am a huge fan of live theater and was in London recently and got a chance to see Punch Drunk's new show, The Burnt City, while I was there. If you are a fan of super immersive theater experiences, obviously their best known show is in New York, but like the Burnt City was something that was fantastic, and I have not stopped thinking about in the now 3 months since I got a chance to see the show, and it was fantastic.
Awesome. Well, as I said, this is the Pride episode. This is going to be episode 432 on the main feed. So thank you all for being here. If you would like more Trivial Warfare in your life, you can head over to Trivial Warfare Army and find out how to do that. But we are going to start with our Warm It Up, Chris.
It's time to warm it up on Trivial Warfare today. And there's only one person who can warm it up for the TWA, and that's Chris. And sometimes Jonathan.
And playing the part of Chris today, and honestly playing the part of Jonathan, because I'm hosting this whole dang thing, is me. So, warm-up
a
questions.
better upgrade has never happened.
Oh, I definitely have better hair.
Wow. Pride episode just started and we're getting that shady. Good Lord,
well,
people.
Burn!
It is the season. So I have here the list for the regular flagship drag race show. I have for seasons 1 through 15, all of the runners up. Usually these are the people like, oh, they got robbed or whatever. And, you know, everyone has their opinions about who wins and who doesn't win Drag Race. But I want to know who the runners up are. So we are going to go around and you're going to give me names of some drag queens and we're going to see if they're on this list. So we're going to start with Mik.
Oh, Lord. Well, I have never watched Drag Race.
That's okay.
But I have a small catalog of drag queens that live in my brain. Couldn't tell you if they were on Drag Race. So I'm going to throw out, because I just saw the Pride Month ad from the North Face, I'm going to throw out Patagonia. But I don't think she was on Drag Race.
That is a wonderful drag name, and I am very into that. But that is not one of the answers I am looking for. But I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. I'm going to look that person up because that's hilarious.
I love that drag name. That's amazing.
That's an amazing drag name. Sutton.
Oof. Okay. Yep. Full confession. I'm going to have to earn my way back into the gay crowd with the following questions after this warm up. I too have not seen a single episode. Apologies to everyone else out there, but I think I have a few names. Maybe the first one I wrote down, I feel like she might have won though. Trixie Mattel.
Oh, she did win a season of All Stars, but in her season, she was like 6th place in her season. But Trixie Mattel was definitely on Drag Race, so you got someone who was on the show.
In the right ballpark. Great.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've seen her play live. She's great. Jay.
Oh, this is going to go fantastic. Would you believe, have never seen an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race?
Oh, don't worry. There's not any Drag Race questions really in the game.
Yeah, just 15 of them to front load this experience. Thank you so much for that.
This is our opportunity to be creative and make up names then,
right?
Right.
Oh, no, I'm absolutely thinking in my mental Rolodex of names that would work really well for like roller derby, because there is a very strong Venn diagram intersection between the two core concepts. I think I know exactly one name that I could recall from RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm not even 100% sure it's right, but I think Bob the Drag Queen was a person on Drag Race. So I'm just going to say that, knowing full well it's wrong, because I probably looked it up on a list of Drag Race winners like 3 years ago and have completely forgotten everything.
She won season 8.
I will take the personal reward that is having been able to name one.
All right, JP, what you got for me?
Oh, I guess I have to do the heavy lifting on this, since I think I'm the only person who knows Drag Race here, because I started making a list as people were flailing at queens. So I actually recently finished a rewatch of season 2, and I didn't realize how harsh the edit was for Raven in that season, and she was the runner-up in season 2, I believe.
The runner-up in season 2 and in All Stars 1. Famously the runner-up twice. But later went on to be RuPaul's makeup artist for the show. So she's fine.
She's doing all right.
She's doing fine. But yes, Raven was a runner-up. So we're not going to do this a whole lot more times. I'm going to go one more time around. Mostly just make up some puns. There's a good chance that there might be some puns on here. So Mik, let's go back to you.
I did actually think of another name that I know is a real person, there's someone there's a queen named Katya. I don't know.
Katya. Katya was on season 7. She was not a runner-up. She was 5th. So
okay.
Yeah, she just didn't make.
She was on
4.
the show. I'll take it.
And she was 3rd in All Stars 2. So she got very, very far in both her seasons. Sutton, what do you got for me?
Yeah, so I did write a Drag Race round for a Pride Trivia like 2 or 3 years ago. So this is trying to go back to that long ago and remember names. So another name I wrote down on the list, and I have no idea, Candy Muse.
Candy Muse was the runner-up of season 13.
Yes. All right, I'll take it.
Good job. Jay, what do you got for me?
Oh, this is killing me so hard. I think my sum total of knowledge about RuPaul's Drag Race was the research I did for one question in the World Trivia Federation a couple months ago. JP, back me up on this. I wrote a question about RuPaul's Drag Race, right?
Yeah.
Like one singular.
Yeah,
where I listed a bunch of names, but they weren't like punny names of winners, and I didn't even bother to look at runners-up, so I'm just flailing at this point. Let's go with, I'm trying to decide, do I want to go roller derby name? Do I want to go terrible James Bond satire name? Or do I want to give it an earnest effort? And I think I'm going to lean away from the names in like Austin Powers for reasons. So let's go with Helena Handbasket.
Oh, that's great. That is a great name. I wish that was your runner-up on Drag Race, but that is a fantastic name. I enjoy that very much.
I think that is a legitimate roller derby player somewhere.
Oh, almost definitely.
And JP, we're going to finish out with you.
All right, I'm looking at my list. I'm just like, which of these runners-up do I want to shout out the most? I think so. We'll keep a through line since we talked about All-Stars 1 already. We'll go with the person who won All-Stars 1 and was also a runner-up in their season, and that would be Chad Michaels.
Chad Michaels was one of the runners-up in season 4. It was one of the situations where they had 2. Fifi O'Hara was the other one, but Chad definitely. And I kind of think, and it's a prevalent fan theory, that they just like, let's do All-Stars 1 and crown Chad because Chad deserved it.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations where I'm like, yeah, I can see where Chad might have been robbed. So I enjoy Drag Race very much. I'm not as avid of a watcher as I used to be, but I love drag so much that I have drag tarot cards. And here's this one of Candy Muse as the 4 of Cups, sitting alone in the VIP. It's just so funny. I love these cards so much.
Those are amazing. Wow.
They're beautiful. I'm going to shout out this artist that made these. They're at enjoy.mycake. Yeah.
I don't know that I've heard a more Carmela-y 2-word phrase in my life than drag tarot cards.
Well, that is your warm-up. I hope everyone's feeling nice and loose, at least that we got to laugh a lot, which is good. That's what we want. So we are going to get into the main game here. So it's going to be Mik and JP versus Sutton and Jay. I am your host. I want this to be as much of a celebration as possible because things are rough out there. However, it is in my experience that you cannot put 5 queer people in a room without the conversation turning political at least once. So just be aware of that. But I do want this to be as much of a celebration as possible. And with that being said, it is time to play the game.
Players. Oh, yeah. Y'all know what time it is. This is Mr. Literature himself, cordially inviting you to the game. This is 6 rounds of trivia goodness. 3 questions per round. Every right answer gets you 10 points. In the middle, we'll take a pause for the cause and ask a midpoint question worth up to 20 juicy points. After round 6, you can wager any or all those points you've been building up and take a shot at the final round. It's a series of theme-based questions we call the Gauntlet. It's just that easy, baby. But this game ain't gonna play itself, players. Let's get it on.
Your first category in round 1 is firsts. What country was the first to legalize same-sex marriage in 2001? It's perhaps unsurprising they were the first, given the meaning of tulips.
I think we're locked.
Okay.
Yep, we're locked in.
All right, so Mik and JP, you can talk out loud.
Yeah, we were getting pretty close to locking. Before the tulip hint came in, I was like, I feel like this is Ireland, but then immediately Michaela was like, no, we have. Then I heard tulips, and then I saw Michaela's response.
Well, my immediate reaction to Ireland was, it's a little Catholic, but but yeah, the tulips helped me out. I was thinking Norway, Sweden, but yeah, the tulips helped us lock it in. So the Netherlands.
And Jay and Sutton.
The same thought process for me, to be honest with you. I was flailing a little bit in like Central and Northern Europe until you said tulips, and then going off the cultural connection there. I was thinking initially, Sutton, I don't know where your headspace was at before this, but I was thinking Switzerland at first, but they're famously neutral on stuff. And then I was going to like Scandinavia because they're pretty socially progressive. But once tulips locked in the Netherlands for me, I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're in their ways, they are remarkably progressive as well. So I think we basically said it to each other at the same time.
Yeah, same thought process here. It was okay. It's summer over in Europe, and yep, tulips was the giveaway. So Netherlands was our answer.
And the answer I am looking for here is the Netherlands. Ireland did have an openly gay prime minister, though, so that might have been what that was coming from.
I had something in there, like Ireland is somewhere linked for that somewhere, and I don't know why, but...
And tulips in the language of flowers symbolize deep and perfect love. So it's very sweet. Tulips are also my favorite flower, so that helps too.
Well, the good news for the gay Catholics out there is the Pope said you're not going straight to hell, or your love shouldn't be criminalized. Or there was the barest minimum of progress somewhat recently in the Catholic Church, and despite insert other issues here, I'll take that.
An iota of effort was made. All right, your next category is Turn Me Up. Mark Kanamura is a dancer, influence, and author, most known around the internet for color-filled dance, complete with wig upon wig reveal, set to a 2016 hit by which singer-songwriter and gay icon?
What was the name of the category again?
Turn Me Up.
And just to clarify your wording, you said the song was from 2016 or the virality of the song was from 2016?
The song itself is from 2016.
Okay, cool. That takes out an option for me.
All right, Mick and I are going to go ahead and lock in.
Oh, good. I don't have to try to keep typing to Sutton with these terribly long emails. Sutton, I'm flailing on this, my friend, because I had one thought, and I can't even recall her name because I'm really bad, but the woman from the Weather Girls / the voice drop from CNC Music Factory hits. JP is going to roll his eyes at me for saying that because I feel like this has come up in our conversation recently. But you said the song came out in 2016, and I think that would put us way past the date of where we want to be here. You had some thoughts, so convince me on something because I got nothing, my friend.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can be very convincing if I need to convince myself first. But so we're trying to think of like, okay, icons. The song came out 2016, so queer LGBT icons in the mid 2010s, and one of the names that I came up with, and it's been more so lately, Taylor Swift. There's a lot of thoughts. She's performing at Twin Cities Pride later this month, and there's some rumors out there that she's going to come out as bi during that performance.
I did a Taylor Swift trivia round, I kid you not, 2 days ago, and I'm not a Swiftie, so I ran it by a playtester who's a diehard Swiftie and happens to subscribe hardcore to the Gaylor theory, and she's trying to convince me that I should include some options and not. I'm like, it's not my place to out somebody who hasn't outed themselves, but I don't know that I would call her a gay icon. An icon to the community, 1,000%, but I'm not there yet.
Right. No, but I'm thinking what her song that kind of got picked up, just made me think of another one. So there's Shake It Off, which, upbeat, fun. That would be a good one to dance to. And I could see a lot of costume changes happening. And also You Need to Calm Down was the other one.
Oh, yeah, it could be that.
But I feel like that was more recent. That was like 2018, 2019.
I think so too. Is there any value in thinking of like a Lady Gaga here? Maybe
it could be Lady Gaga.
Same logic as like Taylor Swift.
Born This Way.
It's like in a vacuum, I'd probably go with either Lady Gaga or you threw Katy Perry out as a possible option. And there's some songs there that would intersect a little bit. But I think we're barking up the wrong tree here, unfortunately, and we're going to be equally incorrect with any of these.
Okay. Do you want to make a choice?
I absolutely don't. So let's go with Taylor Swift. Why not?
Sure, Taylor Swift.
All right,
lock it
Taylor
in.
Swift. Got it. Mick and JP, what did you come up with?
I'm going to defer to JP on this one.
All right, I'll take it away. So, Turn Me Up as the category name. I immediately feel like that is either a lyric of a song or the name of the song. And as someone who got exposed to her music kind of later after her big stardom hit, Carly Rae Jepsen absolutely slaps as a pop diva, and I love and have devoured almost her entire catalog at this point. The Loneliest Time came out at the same time as Midnight's, and I put more spins on that record than I did Taylor's. She had a song that came out on, I think it was a B-side, was a single, but when we're talking about someone having a queer storyline, the music video for Call Me Maybe ends with it being a queer storyline for the entire music video. So I feel like Carly Rae Jepsen, based on the context clues, matches up. So that's what we locked.
A couple things here. The clue in the category, Turn Me Up, is a name of one of this person's songs. It's not the song that's in the video, but it works for a category name. I am looking for Carly Rae Jepsen here. The song is Cut to the Feeling. That's the one that Mark dances around to. It's a video I watch all the time during June just because it's so fun. And I just watch him pull rainbow wigs off his head over and over and over again. It's so great. I love it. But yeah, I'm looking for Carly Rae Jepsen here.
Yeah, I forgot to mention... Yeah, I messaged Michaela, and the first thing that I messaged Michaela was, I just finished watching this video yesterday on mute.
I was hoping you were going to throw that out there, because I'm like, that's the best part of the question.
Oh, Lord.
On mute. And your last category in the round is a moment of recognition. LGBTQ plus Pride Month was first recognized by which U.S. president, declaring it Gay and Lesbian Pride Month?
All right, Sutton, I think we've landed wherever we're going to land on this one, so we're locked in.
Yeah, we were also zooming in on locking right about the same moment. So we're just kind of going down the list, and we're just like, ain't Nixon, ain't Reagan, ain't either of the Bushes. So it's either Obama or Clinton. Maybe possibly could go all the way back to Carter, but it feels a little early for it to be Carter, honestly. And then you definitely were talking about the wording of the recognition possibly being a hint.
Yeah, Gay and Lesbian Pride Month felt a little more dated, kind of less hip with the times, as one might think of, say, Barack Obama. So we narrowed in on Clinton.
I don't know. Clinton was pretty hip with the times. He played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. That's hip, right?
As far as the verbiage goes, so I guess hip with the times, isn't it? But it felt like more dated lingo. So give it an extra 12 plus years in the past.
And Sutton and Jay, what did you come up with?
All right, first off, I hate that a saxophone performance is the benchmark for cool in American politics.
Hey, it was the 90s, yo.
It was massive 90s energy. Sutton and I, again, flailed around a little bit on this. It was a lot easier to eliminate presidents. It wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it would have been either of the Bushes. I don't think it would have been, it certainly wouldn't have been Reagan, and I don't think it would have been anyone before Reagan. So that really got us down to waffling back and forth between Clinton and Obama. Sutton, I think we both felt like late 90s was a good time frame for this to have happened, as opposed to late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah, same thinking exactly on those timelines. So yeah, it narrowed it down just like the other team between Clinton and Obama, and we went with Clinton.
Yeah, so Mr. Saxo beats himself.
I was hoping that declaring it Gay and Lesbian Pride Month would give you that it is a bit more dated as far as language, pull you away from Obama, who would have recognized it as LGBT Pride Month. And I'm looking for Clinton, so good job, everyone. Okay, at the end of round one, Mick and JP are in the lead with 30, but Jay and Sutton are right behind them with 20. Your first category in round two is hot off the press. Elliot Page's anticipated memoir is releasing on June 6th. We're recording this on June 3rd. The title of the memoir shares the name with Page's production company that he launched in 2021 and the name of a short hairstyle with turn under ends and bangs. What is this name?
I think, Jay, that we're good to lock.
I sure. Let's lock it in and see what happens.
Let's do it. Yep.
All right.
Y'all are just faster than us. I got excited because I was just reading something this morning about Elliot Page's memoir. That was not part of it. So I think JP saw me fist pump a little bit and was like, do you got anything? I don't know about that. But we did narrow down. JP was able to come up with the name of the hairstyle, which totally fits. So we locked in with
Page Boy, because my first response to Mick was Hulp, because I didn't even know Elliot Page had a memoir coming out. I don't know the name of Elliot Page's production company, but the hairstyle sounds like a Page Boy. So Elliot Page, Page Boy, this seems like a match.
Tracks.
All right, we're going with Page Boy. Jay and Sutton, what do you got for me?
I didn't think I would get a trivia question today based on hairstyle knowledge, but that I think is 100% what happened here, because I don't know a whole lot about Elliot Page outside the context of a handful of projects he has worked on, notably The Umbrella Academy. So I couldn't tell you the name of his memoir, couldn't tell you the name of his production company, but I can tell you the name of a hairstyle that fits the description he gave happens to be Page Boy. And if that doesn't tick all the boxes to fit everything else in the clue, I don't know what does.
Well, it is a very clever name for a book and a production company. It is Page Boy.
I was going to say, if it wasn't right, it should have been right. And Elliot, did you rethink your name?
We need to make a phone call.
Yeah,
Elliot Page's manager.
Elliot needed to reconsider.
Like, I need you to do this. Points all around. Your next category is allies. In a March 2023 interview, Nathan Lane discusses a different interview that he had in 1996 with Oprah alongside Robin Williams, where Oprah asked him a question that would have led him to talking about his sexuality before he was ready, and Williams swooped in and diverted the conversation. They were promoting what movie at the time?
Carmela, could you say the year again? My brain glitched.
Sure. The interview, the first interview, the one where he's talking about this other interview, was in 2023, but the interview he's talking about took place in 1996. While they were promoting what movie?
We're locked.
So
yeah, the discussion that Sutton and I are having right now, is it the obvious answer?
Yeah.
Because we both landed on the same film at the same time.
Yep.
So the question is becoming, is this harder than it seems? And I cannot think of another film around that time that Robin Williams and Nathan Lane would have been doing a press junket for, other than The Birdcage. So I did 95% confidence that this is the one we're going for. And if we try anything else, we're going to have worked ourselves into a shoot on this.
Yeah, no, I think so too. That was the same. Okay, just making sure, covered bases. I'm trying to think, are there any, like, they were both voice actors too, so animated films, which would be maybe a weird place to bring up sexuality in an interview about the film. At least in the mid-90s it would be, because this was 96, you said, right, Carmela?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, it seems to fit everything with Birdcage. Just want to be thorough with thinking through
definitely
any other films that they might have been in together.
In a vacuum, if I had to just arbitrarily give the year I thought The Birdcage came out, I probably would have said like 97, so I think we're in the right time space here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to lock in with The Birdcage.
I think so, yeah. Yep, locked in.
Birdcage. Making JP.
I didn't even try to think past what it was, because like it's The Birdcage. Like they were doing that press junket, and Robin Williams was a fantastic ally in that interview. Like I feel like this is Birdcage hands down.
One of the formative movies for young baby Carmela in the 90s. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is definitely The Birdcage. Maybe it's the obvious answer. I just love the movie so much. And I saw this story that Nathan Lane was talking about, and someone had written a comment, and it's kind of stuck with me, that sometimes being a good ally is guarding the closet door. And that stuck with me. So I wanted to write a question about it.
Yeah, that's when was the interview? That was... The
interview, it was from March. He had it on, it was part of a Today Show, like their weekend thing. But yeah, it was an interview that Nathan Lane did, because he was like, he had a new play, and I think he was writing something. So, but he was talking about that interview.
Okay. Cool. I just want to interject with a fun fact about The Birdcage, if listeners don't know. In French, the name for The Birdcage is hard to pronounce.
There's a reason why I didn't actually try to pronounce what the French name was, even though Mick and I talked about it.
It's like Le Cage à foie gras or something.
Le Cage à foie.
Are we back at drag names? That would be a great thing.
Yes! Well, the show is about drag.
So it all fits. It's perfect.
Dude, we've come full circle at this point. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, your last category in the round is Matrimonius Aurelius. Quite a few things have been said of the Roman Emperor Nero. Most famously is that he played the fiddle while Rome burned. It is also said that during a Saturnalia, he married a freedman with what name? No relation to the mathematician, in case you had any conspiracy theorems on the subject.
I think Sutton and I have landed on the guess we're going to throw at you.
Okay. Making JP.
Boo.
We're kind of hashing out. We both took like different keywords from the question.
Yeah, we're both reasoning this from hints that are in the question, because I did not know that Nero was rumored to have married a freedman. So I feel like the mathematician hint with conspiracy theorems, I took the conspiracy side of that. And I'm like, okay, so it's someone that has to do with conspiracy theories that's also a mathematician. I feel like Nostradamus fits that part of the hint really well. And Mik picked up on the other half of that.
Well, I picked up on using the word theorems instead of theories when talking about the conspiracy theorems, which would not be the typical way that would be worded. I had totally put on my language nerd hat and was like, oh, Carmela wanted me to hear that. And with mathematician, I am currently advocating for Pythagoras. So I guess JP and I just have to decide what we're going to go with.
Oh.
I really felt like Carmela paused and like emphasized theorems.
But conspiracy being there is just, you know what? You know what we're going to do?
Are we going to rock, paper, scissors?
Oh, no. Geek. I'm finding a D20.
Even better.
I have a big gay one if you want me to roll it.
Yeah, I've got my box back here somewhere. I just need to grab a die real quick.
We went to Anime Central a couple weeks ago, and my son got these like bouncy rubberized dice that I could go snag in a pinch. But I don't know how effective they'd be on a hard table. Yeah.
All
gotta
right.
have the clunk. Okay.
Mik, you call it even or odd?
Odd.
It is odd.
All right. I guess we're locking in with Pythagoras.
Jay and Sutton, what do you got for me?
This is a math question, Carmela.
I know.
I love math. I love math to the extent that other people hate me for how much I love math. But here's the thing. I don't know about ancient Roman theoretical marriages, so I leaned on Sutton for any insider info. I basically threw 3 or 4 names at Sutton and hoped one of them would spark something.
Yeah, and the 3 names were, what was it? I'm looking back. We had Euclid as one, Pythagoras and Ptolemy were the 3 kind of names we came up with. And I started thinking, okay, the like language of origin, where they're coming from. Well, Pythagoras was Greek. Pretty sure Ptolemy was Greek, Egyptian. Euclid, I wasn't entirely sure.
I believe he was Greek as well, yeah.
Okay, and then, so I was thinking, okay, maybe it could be Euclid. Is that the one? But then you were really heavy, Jay, on leaning into the theorem piece of it. And I think that was, that was a good clue word for us too. So just like you were doing too, Mik, we were thinking, theorem, and that kind of drove us to the second of the 3 options. So Pythagoras was the one, and thinking, okay, so, Roman freedmen, they would take slaves from anywhere, and then, so there could have been a Greek slave who had been freed in, ancient Rome, and Nero fell in love and married him one weird Saturnalia weekend. And then, Anyway, we locked in with Pythagoras.
I was hoping that the use of theorem would help here, because I definitely want to lead you all towards Pythagoras for Pythagorean theorem. So
Credit
good job.
to the clue writer there.
God bless D20.
I know, I'm going to be mad if we end up losing this game, Sutton, because of literally the luck of a Euclidean solid.
Yeah, right?
Or no,
Platonic solid.
No, I'm wrong. A Platonic solid. I forgot about Plato. I was trying to, in my head, work Aristophanes in to show off, and then I screwed up the actual math fact. So I'm doing great. It's too early for me, and I'm too sober.
That is the end of the second round. Mik and JP are still in the lead with 60. Sutton and Jay are still right behind them with 50. Round 3. Your first category in round 3 is Life Partners in Crime. The 3rd annual DC Comics Pride Anthology has been released for readers to enjoy, and one couple has been in every edition thus far. Who are these anti-heroes? They are sure to grow on you, and that's no laughing matter.
We're locked in.
Well, then you are locked in a second and a half before Sutton and I are. There wasn't much discussion here. It was whoever could type the names Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy faster. And I cheated and just put Ivy and Harley in the chat, so I win that one.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think there's much to discuss here, Sutton. They're hugely represented, especially on TV now, being a gay couple in comic fandom. So I don't have a better guess. The clues fit. All the pieces are falling into place. Let's just say it and throw it back over to our opponents here.
Yep. Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy.
Yeah, for us, it was the same. I mean, it was just whoever could type it the fastest. Yeah, Harley and Poison Ivy have been kind of, the unofficial couple for a long time, and then now very much official. And they're great representation in so many forms of media now. We went with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
I'm definitely looking for Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I'm going to put Mick on the spot a little bit. So I was trying to figure out a clue name for this, and I remember...
I wondered.
Yeah. So Mick, as I mentioned before, recently got married a couple weeks ago, and she shared a picture with some of our friends. I forget why she called you all partners in crime, where like you weren't supposed to be somewhere, or I can't remember exactly why.
Well, so a dear friend of ours, of Carmela's and mine, married my wife and I, and when we were kind of talking about like how do you want me to declare you married, and we landed on partners. I now declare you partners in crime. But what happened was she kind of caught us off guard because she didn't tell us that she was going to shout at the end, "Be gay, do crime." So we were ready to be told to kiss. But then she shouted, "Be gay, do crime." And we already got in for the kiss. So we sealed our marriage with our first crime before we were told to.
I love that so much.
Shout out to Marin.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Marin. She's a great officiant.
My teenage son will randomly walk around shouting, "Be gay, do crime." And I respond, "But you're asexual, so shouldn't it be like be ace and commit political arson?" Like, what's the analog here?
Yeah, I'll have to think about what's the ACE slogan gonna be?
Yeah.
We'll
have to take it back to the committee.
No thanks, I'm good, I think is the ACE slogan.
No, thanks, I'm good.
It's their garlic bread.
And he unironically absolutely adores garlic bread. So I don't know if it's memes or just the fact that it's freaking garlic bread, but it's right on. It's 1-to-1.
I love it. Your next category is cameos. For the video Pink, the third single off of Janelle Monáe's album Dirty Computer, features what actress who also played a canonically bisexual character in the MCU?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and lock.
Okay. Sutton and Jay.
Okay.
Struggle bus in here. I love the MCU. I cannot for the life of me think of a character that is canonically bi that's been represented in the MCU. And I think Carmela's going to say a name and I'm going to go, oh, right. So, but the problem is that's in the future and we're in the present, Sutton.
Stuck right here.
Yeah. You threw Brie Larson out at first. And the problem I have with thinking that that's correct is that they don't really address Captain Marvel's sexuality in either of or any of her appearances. Like, it's a non-factor.
I don't know that they do, but even when they're off-world and they're in whatever Kree planet or whatever it is, if there's something there that's just kind of in the offing, it's been a while since I've seen Captain Marvel. But then the other thoughts were we talked to Eternals a little bit. Like, were any of those? Angelina Jolie is one of the actresses who plays one of the Eternals.
One of the Eternals was definitely in a same-sex marriage.
Yeah,
I don't remember the character's name.
Yeah,
right. It definitely wasn't Jolie's character.
Yep.
But then you mentioned Disney Plus MCU stuff, and I'm like, oh, maybe. So where I'm thinking right now is it Sylvie maybe from the Loki series?
Could be. I can't think of the actress.
Yeah, I cannot recall her name either, unfortunately. So in the absence of knowing what might be a right answer, but not having the name, do you want to just lock in with Brie Larson and hope there was a scene in there that we're forgetting?
I feel like that makes the most sense. I'm trying to think of through the other, Disney Plus shows. So there was WandaVision, there was Loki, there was
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there was Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight.
Yep. Because there was definitely that scene on the train in Loki where they're talking about they've both had relations with, people of both genders or multiple genders. And
so, I mean, Loki is canonically,
and it's definitely
technically pansexual in that interpretation as opposed to bi, but I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I've seen the scene. But, representation's definitely there with Loki. So could it be the actress who plays Sylvie? And if it is, does it matter? Because what's her name?
That's the thing. I know. We can't come up with a name. So I guess if we have to lock in an actress name, we've got Brie Larson in the back pocket.
Is Pom Clementief's Mantis ever really... I haven't seen Guardians 3 yet, so I can't speak to anything, but... Because I'm thinking like in the Guardians, and it wouldn't be Nebula. It wouldn't, I don't believe, be Gamora here. And also, those actresses aren't going to be in a music video. They got other stuff going on.
We're going to need to come to an answer soon.
Oh, I believe you. Brie Larson feels like this might fit, though, except for the fact that I can't pin down Captain Marvel's sexuality.
Yeah, and without a name for the Loki actors, I think we have to go with one actress we can name. So yeah, let's go with Brie Larson.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, so I fell off of MCU very early. I recognize that they are pillars of American cinema and are not necessarily made for me. But when I think of queer people that are Marvel characters, America Chavez came to mind. But I have no idea who plays her. I know that she's been in a couple things, but I have no idea what the actress's name is. But had a reference for someone else. We're not sure if they're bi, but the timing works a little better for a Janelle Monáe music video.
Yes, and I know the actress is bi. And I think there's a reference to... And what's funny is I can't even actually remember for sure what the character's name is. My brain is saying Valkyrie. But I know that Tessa Thompson is bi, and I think there's a reference to her character being involved with both men and women at various points, and presumably other genders, but that's not in movies. So we kind of we talked about Tessa Thompson, then kind of there at the end when the Eternals came out, but Tessa Thompson kind of fits with the timeline of when Dirty Computer would have come out. She's been around the scene a little longer than the actress that plays America Chavez, so we locked in with Tessa Thompson.
So the actress who plays Sylvie, her name is Sophia DiMartino. So we have that information.
That's right, yeah.
But that's not who I was looking for. I was looking for the actress who plays Valkyrie in the Thor movies and in the Avengers movies. And that is Tessa Thompson. She's actually been in 4 of Janelle Monáe's music videos.
Oh, no kidding.
I should watch more Janelle Monáe music videos.
Yeah.
As soon as Mick said that name, I'm like, yep. We just lost out.
That is
Didn't even cross our minds. Yeah.
That's a crazy good pull, Mick.
Thank you. We're that one I think played to some of my knowledge. And Carmela, did you write that question?
I did. I wrote all of these questions.
That may or may not have also been in my thought process was Valkyrie.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, I wonder, I didn't want to use that as the hinge because I didn't know if you wrote it.
Okay, last category in the round is the importance of a place of our own. The first gay and lesbian bookstore to operate long-term in the U.S. was founded in 1967 in New York City by Craig Rodwell and moved to Christopher Street in 1973. It was named for what 19th century poet and playwright? Because Rodwell felt that they were a prominent person that most people knew of and was a martyr in the overall gay liberation movement.
We're locked in.
Sutton and Jay.
Oh, I hadn't even started typing yet.
Well, that's funny because I still got a message from you. So I was leaning that way, but with very tepid kind of micro steps that direction. Because I don't have much of a basis and kind of, yeah.
I'm Pavloving this just a bit off of 19th century poet and playwright, but I don't think I'm right because I'm leaning too heavily on the playwright. I was thinking Oscar Wilde, just to bring the listeners into our thought process. We're saying all the things except the important thing. But he was more of a novelist and playwright. I don't know that I'd call him a poet and playwright. I'm talking myself away from that. I also can't shake this feeling that we're probably talking about an American. And I believe Oscar Wilde was British. I'm going to sound real dumb if he wasn't.
I think you're right.
Oh, good.
For whatever my again, tepid agreement with that is. What about, okay, so this is totally literature and self-exposure, being totally vulnerable on a podcast where people can, freely criticize my lack of knowledge. Knowing this was coming up, I did a quick cram trying to learn a little bit LGBTQ history stuff, and Walt Whitman came up.
I like it.
I don't really have much information on Walt Whitman, but that would be an American.
I couldn't name a play that Walt Whitman may have wrote if that's the case, but I also can't name a poem that Oscar Wilde may have written. So in the absence of knowing, I feel like there's something about queerness when it comes to Oscar Wilde, but I can't put my finger on it. Walt Whitman's name is ringing a very it's tiny bell in the back of my head vis-a-vis that intersectionality. I'm content going with you because I think I'm wrong.
And I was going to say the same exact thing. I'm content going with you because I think I'm just pulling a name that I saw one day this week. So
could we? Well, let's shotgun because we have a couple seconds here. Wordsworth, Longfellow. I don't think it would be either of them. 19th century playwrights are where I'm getting stuck here more than anything else. O. Henry wouldn't make sense here. He also, I don't think either wrote poems or plays. Dickens, same kind of applies. I don't know. Mick, can we borrow that D20? Or no, JP, it was your
JP.
D20. My bad. I didn't mean to insult the geek on geek stuff.
I mean, I got a D20, a D12, a D10. What you need, girl?
Oh, the correct answer is what I need. Is that on one of the dice?
That? Nah.
Fresh out.
All right, you know what? Luck helps them. Maybe it'll help us, Sutton. So I have one of our answers in my left hand virtually, and one of our answers in my right hand. Pick a hand.
Okay. Let's go left. Left hand.
Beep. Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde it is. We're locking in Oscar
I
Wilde.
didn't want it to be her answer.
Make it JP. What do you got for me?
Oh, J. J.
Oh, I don't like how this is starting.
Pavlovs are very important to follow, especially when the category name starts with the importance of a place of our own, which tends to lead to the importance of being earnest, which is why I immediately Pavloved on Oscar Wilde, as did Mik.
That's all. That was our thought process.
Okay. Walt Whitman did. I don't know if anything was confirmed for him, but he would show up on a list of LGBTQ poets. This guy I'm looking for is listed as a poet. He definitely wrote poems as well as plays and books. He's Irish and was famously convicted for gross indecency in the UK. I'm looking for Oscar Wilde. So luck is with all of the teams today.
Can't complain about losing to a D20 roll now.
No. I should start paying attention to these topics because, if I had picked up on that at all, I was going to make a terrible pun about how earnestly I was giving you the guess of Oscar Wilde.
The play was right there.
Woof.
Okay. At the end of round 3, JP and Mik have 90. Jay and Sutton have 70. So your midpoint category is things just keep getting better. Tan, Jonathan, Bobby, Karamo, and Anthony are back for the newest season of Queer Eye on Netflix. The original run of Queer Eye ran from 2003 to 2007. Name the original Fabulous Five. Because I gave just first names for the current set of the Fabulous Five, I will accept just first names.
Woof. Okay. It has been a hot minute since thinking about this group.
I mean, we came up with some names that are names.
We did. Yes, we did come up with names.
So I think we ultimately ended up Ted, Ty, or Tay, and Jai or Jay, because I don't know. Chris Webber. And do you want to go Brandon?
May as well. Why
Might
not?
as well, right?
So I need to know, are you saying Tay or Ty and Jay or Jai? I need
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, does our spelling in our chat help?
I don't care about spelling. I need you to say a word.
Okay.
Ty is ringing the lightest of bells.
Then
for
it'd
me.
be Ty and Jay. I don't think they rhymed.
So you're saying Ted, Chris, Brandon, Ty, and Jay. 1,
Yep.
2, 3.
Sounds
4.
good to me.
Okay.
And
I got
importantly,
your
it's
answers.
Chris Webber. I refuse
Chris
to get
Webber.
accidental points for making a Michigan basketball joke here.
Specifically Chris Webber. Famously of the Fabulous Five. JP and Mik, what do you got for me?
Ted.
Yeah, we both immediately were like, it's Ted Allen. Like
The food guy.
that is the Food Network guy. He hosts Chopped. He's done so much stuff for them. He was also on The Chew on ABC for a hot second. So knew it was Ted Allen. After
Then
that,
we went in circles.
Yeah,
I would like
'cause,
to say this is ex-LDS discrimination. I was not allowed to watch reality television.
My bad.
I'm so glad you got better, though.
Yes, me too.
I will say I don't think we have any of the other answers y'all gave. You saying Jai, I feel like there's a J Rodriguez that sounds like it could be right. When you said that, it ticked
Yeah.
something in the back of the head. Because I know there's one other one that did something after Queer Eye, and I couldn't tell you what the other 3 of them were doing. And Ted Allen has just been on the Food Network for 2 decades at this point. However, Mik did get us into an interesting place for the rest of our answers.
So we got to the point where we just started, at JP's request, throwing out gay boy names. And ended up with 4 that fit my complaint that I was at a disadvantage as an ex-LDS person. So we got Ted, Matt, Mark, Luke, and John.
And it's Matt because he's trendy.
He's so hip these days.
Yeah.
So in.
Okay. So we've got Ted, Matt, Mark, Luke, and John. And then Ted, Chris Weber, Brandon, Ty, and Jay. Okay. So here's what we got. Ted Allen is correct. Food Network star Ted Allen. Jay Rodriguez is correct. He is an actor. Tom Felicia was the home decorator, interior design guy. Kyan Douglas was the grooming, hair, and skincare. Carson Kressley was the fashion guy.
Carson.
The fact
That's
that
where
you
he got his start. That's right.
That you didn't say Carson after watching so much Drag Race.
I just completely forgot that was his first big televised thing. I completely forgot that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Sutton sent that one to me about a minute ago, and I'm like, damn it, if this were 2 minutes sooner, I would feel a lot better about it. But you're right, that one's ringing a bell.
Not to stereotype, but as soon as you just said gay boy names, I was like, oh, Carson. That's it.
I mean, we were completely stereotyping by even getting to that point of throwing out names.
Sometimes stereotypes are true.
And they leaned heavily into that show to make, like, it was definitely woof Queer Eye.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my original shitpost guess that wasn't Chris Webber was going to be like Tito or something. I'm like, how do I comedy up the fact that I don't know any of the old Queer Eye guys?
I watched a lot of the old Queer Eye show. I watched quite a bit of the new one too. But yeah, so Mik and JP, you got 1. Jay and Sutton, you got 2. So coming out of the midpoint, Mik and JP have 95. Jay and Sutton have 80.
All right, that's the end of the first half. Before we go on to the second half, I need to let you know that today's show is sponsored by SporkleCon. So, who wants to see Trivial Warfare live? I think you should, and I'm excited that we get to do it on Sunday at SporkleCon in September. We're going to have so many of our main crew there. Aaron's going to be there. Nick's going to be there. Carmela's going to be there. Jonathan's going to be there. And we might even get a special appearance by Zakia. We're going to have a full panel. It is going to be an absolute blast. And it's happening on September 10th as a part of the last day of SporkleCon. So SporkleCon is in Washington, D.C. It's from the 8th to the 10th. It is the largest conference for trivia lovers in the world. I think it's in the world. We're going to say in the world. It told me to say in the country, but I believe it's in the world. There's over 50 events for all different skill levels. You can do team stuff. You can do individual stuff. But most importantly is the social stuff. You're going to be able to hang out with and make friends with and become better acquainted with and connected with all of the people that you love in the trivia community. SporkleCon is the place to do it. You need to use the code TWA to save 15% off of the full weekend pass. You do that at www.sporklecon.com. That's right. Go to sporklecon.com and use the code TWA to save $15 off the full weekend pass and come see me, Nick, Aaron, Carmela, and possibly Zakia live on day 3. Can't wait to see you there. All right, let's get on with the second half of today's game.
Round 4, your first category is obligatory sports question. Sex testing or verification is a controversial practice in athletics that's been around since the 1940s. It's come under scrutiny in recent years as the World Athletics Organization continues to modify and increase the restrictions. One such case that made news was with this South African gold medalist, an intersex woman, who was made to undergo sex testing multiple times and was eventually barred for track events that she regularly competed in after a rule change around testosterone levels was updated in 2018. Who is this athlete?
It couldn't have been out queer pro sports players. Come on.
I know.
Hey, this person is a professional. Just
They are. I should rephrase. Big 5 sports player. I know them. I know of this person.
I know at least one Fab 5 sports player. Does that count?
Shout out to Chris Weber.
See, Carmela, you couldn't have asked the question I wanted you to ask that I'd already pre-guessed the answer to in my chat with Sutton. I assure you, you did not ask the same question, but
we're fairly confident in our answers, so we're going to lock.
Okay.
Let's rephrase. JP is fairly confident, and I've deferred.
Sutton, I remember this story. I read at least one article about it. I can picture the athlete in question, like in my mind pretty well, but I cannot, for the life of me, put a name to the face. I was really hoping Carmela was going to ask about the famous athlete in the Olympics in the 70s who was exempted from sex testing because people thought that it was Princess Grace, but maybe it's not. It would have been beneath her to have her sex tested, which, spoiler alert, it's beneath anybody.
Yeah.
There's your political hot take for this half. So,
take.
Maybe it was Princess Anne. Anyway, that's irrelevant to what we're being asked here right now, Sutton. I got nothing on this. I got a big old bag of nothing.
Same here. Like, I knew this at one point, but this was 2018 was when the rule changed and the whole, yeah.
I remember the story because it's a bunch of hot garbage.
Yep.
And I just cannot for the life of me pull the name. It's a South African track and field athlete. So I kind of want to say as our answer, Oscar Pistorius is a murdering piece of garbage and lock in that.
So for some reason, like Kima or Kina or Kuma or something like that came to mind, but I don't know where it's coming from. But
they have a great burger place in the Chicago area, Kuma's Corner.
Sure, could be that.
Kuma S Corner, is that what you want to go with?
Wow, no. I think we could talk ourselves in circles and still not come to anything close to the right answer. So
yeah, I don't even know if I'd recognize the name if you said it. So
yeah.
I'll defer to you to throw literally any name out there because I got nothing on this.
Just because it came up for some reason, I don't know where it's coming from. I think Kima. Let's throw a Lucky Kima out there.
There you go. It's the international version of a Lucky Johnson.
Sure.
Well, we both immediately in the chat, both JP and I just said, I can't remember her name.
I don't know her name. Like, I know everything surrounding this story, and I cannot pull her name.
Yeah, as Jay was talking, I'm like seeing the article, and like just like she was talking about, and I couldn't come up with a name, and so JP threw out one that I'm like, that sounds reasonably South African. So
exactly, because I mean, like, I'm with you there. I'm for throwing out one of the lucky answers. So instead of going with the Lucky Johnson, we decided to go slightly more Dutch and throw out a Lucky Johansson.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat. I was like, I can't laugh too hard about that. I can't laugh too hard.
Yeah, so we're going with last name Johansson and hoping the spaghetti sticks to the wall.
Gotcha. All right. So it's not Johansson and it's not Kima. This woman's name is Caster Semenya. She had to go through sex testing multiple times starting in 2009. She did appeal the 2018 ruling. She had to appeal it for a couple years. One of the reasons I wanted to bring this up, this is probably the most downer question that I have in my set. I found out through my research on this thing, they don't do sex verification for men's categories, just the women's. And I'm like, are you kidding me? One, it's stupid regardless. But two, I'm like, really? Like, just, I think there was some study that I was looking at where they did test a bunch of male athletes, cis male athletes, and like a pretty good chunk of them, like 15%, tested below what they considered the quote unquote normal testosterone rates that would have put them in a female category. So I'm like, so this whole thing is BS, that it's just stuff you made up and you're only subjecting women to it.
It says so much about how people view the concept of women's sports that they're only sex testing that half of the dynamic.
Right. I'm like,
you're saying the quiet part loud in, well, there's real sports and then there's the other ones. And I hate that so very, very much.
Yeah. So that's the main reason I included that in this, because I was reading it and I was like, are you kidding me? They only do it for women's categories. They don't do it for the men's categories at all.
It wouldn't be a Pride episode without a little bit of righteous fury.
Yeah, just a little bit of anger. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because that is BS.
Yeah, absolutely. Next category, cult classics, starring Natasha Lyonne, Clea Duvall, and RuPaul. What is the name of the 1999 satirical comedy about a teenage girl sent to a conversion camp and finds love instead?
We're going to lock.
Oh, this one's all Sutton, thankfully, so I'll let Sutton take it.
Okay, sure. Yep, I'm fairly positive this is the movie, but I'm a cheerleader. being the summer camp aficionado. Summer camp movies are things that I thoroughly enjoy. And though it's been a while for this one, I'm not at the 100% level. I'm pretty sure that this is the movie. At least what I understand, what I remember from the movie, it checks the boxes here. That's what I'm thinking, Jay.
Yeah, and I was speaking to a bartender at one of the venues that I host trivia at. A shout out to Skeleton Key Brewing in Woodridge. It's the prideiest place I work. And the bartender and I were just randomly talking about Natasha Lyonne. I forget the context, but I was talking about Russian Doll because I really love the concept of like a time loop in literature and media. And she brought up, some of Natasha's earlier work, and I swear she said, "But I'm a cheerleader" there. So it rang a very strong bell. And if you've got thunder, I will ride that lightning.
It's a rumble off in the distance, but sure, yes, lock it in. But I'm a cheerleader.
Mick and JP.
Speaking of thunder that I didn't have, I'm gonna ship this all the way over to Mick right now.
I played the lesbian card here.
As you do sometimes.
As you must at times. Carmela had literally the name Natasha out of her mouth, and I was like, oh, this is But I'm a Cheerleader. So yeah, nothing really more to say than that, other than it's a classic and fantastic, and it's But I'm a Cheerleader.
So when I was writing this question down, not thinking, I was like, where a cheerleader gets sent to a conversion camp, I'm like, nope, gotta take that out. Can't say that. So, but
can we just talk about the fact that Natasha Lyonne is like she's a queer icon. She's been in so many things where she has played a queer character. And as far as I know, she is not queer, which is like, sometimes it's like, oh, we want queer people to play queer parts, but it's like, can we give Natasha an exception because she's very good at it?
You don't see the opposite a lot in a way that doesn't make you like righteously indignant that, a performer who fits the mold could have been cast. They're like, I'm okay with Natasha Lyonne playing anything that she wants to play.
Exactly. She's just so good. And like you would just assume, you're like, oh, great, they've got this great queer actress playing all these roles. And then you Google it and you're like, no.
Like, I'll level with you. I hate her character in Russian Doll, a series I really liked. And I think I'm supposed to, because I think she plays that role the way it's supposed to be played well enough that I have strong opinions on it. So bravo to the actress there, 100%.
All right, last category in the round is Gays in Space. The 2019 game, The Outer Worlds, includes a companion in your travels named Parvati Holcomb, who is asexual. She is voiced by what actor who is known for voicing Tiny Tina in Borderlands and Aloy in the Horizon series, and who came out as pansexual in 2022?
We're locked.
Hey, that's on to us then, isn't it, Sutton?
Yep.
Playing a fun game called Name Some Voice Actors.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I mean, we've come up with a couple that feel like they're the close kind of wrong. Like a pair of names jumped out to me as, just there's a non-zero chance these could possibly be right. And those would be Mae Whitman and Tara Strong. I mean, Tara Strong's done everything everywhere, but I don't know that's the problem is the writing of the question really kind of narrows it down to, and maybe the intent is just, I want to talk about video games here on Carmela's end, but, doesn't mention just a ton of things the way like a Tara Strong question would. So I don't know. The other thought I put out to you was Mae Whitman, and I know Mae Whitman has voiced a number of queer characters and portrayed queer roles. She was in Scott Pilgrim. I love her for voicing Amity on the Owl House. I don't know if she's done a lot of video game work, and I don't know where she falls identity-wise. So I'm grasping at all kinds of straws here. Yeah,
and me too. I mean, I can't place Mae Whitman I can't place that voice. I can't hear it. And I love the Tiny Tina character from Borderlands, but I have no idea who voices that for sure. And
feels like it might be Tara Strong. The nature of that voice is very Tara Strongy, and Mae Whitman doesn't have a very character-y voice the way that Tara does. I think we're waffling between two wrong answers. Here's the problem.
We might be. So the last one I threw in our chat was, from The Last of Us. She was the kid on Growing Pains. And then...
Ashley Johnson.
Thank you. Yes.
You know what? I actually really like that guess now that you bring it up. I think that's ringing something in my head with Tiny Tina. And since I'm abandoning ship on both of my terrible guesses, let's go with yours and shift the blame if we must.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. I'm ready.
Screw it. Let's lock in with Ashley Johnson.
Great.
All right. Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson sounds good. I'm sad that I didn't actually pull that when I was thinking, because I was also thinking, Last of Us feels like it won a bunch of voice acting awards. I couldn't pull her name to save my life. Tara Strong was the first thing that hit our chat as well. So, like, you're not off on that at all.
Although I immediately was like, I have this game. I have never booted it up. If I had heard the character, I would know if it was Tara Strong or not, but I've never booted up the game. So yeah, we went back and forth on Tara Strong for a bit.
We honestly had the same reasoning that you did, Jay, was if this is a Tara Strong question, why is the resume not longer? Because, again, has been in literally anything. And so I sat with it for a sec, and then I was like, oh, there's a Horizon series reference here. I have never played the game, but I feel like Ashley Birch is the lead voice actor for that series. And if that's who Alloy is, I know that Anthony also did some amount of writing for Borderlands as well, which is her brother. So I feel like Ashley Birch kind of fits here, and that's what we ended up locking in with.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I've played all of these games that I've mentioned. I recommend them all. They're great. I love Parvati. She's great, and you get some really cool ace representation there. Ashley Johnson, very famous for playing Ellie in The Last of Us. I am looking for a different Ashley, though. I am looking for the Ash from Ash. Hey, Ash, what you playing? Who is Ashley Birch?
Nice one, JP.
Well done.
You know, Sutton, you got us to being halfway right, which rounds down. I'll take the moral victory on that nonetheless.
Yes, yep, exactly, yeah.
See, I got thrown off when Carmela said the Outer, and I'm like, oh, Outer Wilds question. I love the Outer Wilds. And then she said the Outer Worlds. I'm like, that's right. I conceptually didn't play that game because people confused it for the Outer Wilds, which I think is a better game.
I haven't played the Outer Wilds. I enjoyed the Outer Worlds very much, though. So that is the end of round 4. JP and Mick are still in the lead with 115. Jay and Sutton have 90. So let's get into round 5. Category is earworms. Please tell me the name of the 2022 number 1 hit on the Hot 100 with the following lyrics. A lucky, lucky girl. She got married to a boy like you. She'd kick you out if she ever knew about the blank. You tell me that you do.
We're going to lock.
Okay. Jay and Sutton.
For those of you who don't know, I, among other mantles, am a professional wedding DJ, which would be great if I kept up on music in the 2020s right now. I woefully do not, mostly because I've spent the last 3 years basically on Twitch where I am obligated not to play music that people have ever heard of.
Yeah.
So I'm way out of the loop, especially on modern, and I'm assuming here in this case, pop music. So anything I get is going to be just mad-libbing the grammar of this lyric a little bit, Sutton.
Start of the year, like from the summer. Like a year ago. What was big? What was on the radio? What was?
I've got just a blind spot on this. Like, here's the kind of phrase that I think fills in that blank. I think the kind of phrase is gay. Beep. But I can't see that being the title of a number 1 hit. Oh, number 1 hit. I maintain the Billboard number 1 hits database for the Trivia Writers Co-op, which sucks right now because I don't actually pay attention. I just copy paste from Wikipedia.
That reminds me, I got to go into that database more often.
There is no place on the internet that just gives you a list of every song that's ever hit number 1 in the U.S. Wikipedia is the closest I've found, and it breaks it down by year and by decade. I write so many questions that have to do with that number 1 list that I have to maintain a spreadsheet for it.
I got to thinking, so last summer, as it was, Harry Styles was huge. The other song that sounds almost identical to it is the Olivia Rodrigo song, Look in the Mirror and... take a look in the mirror and say that you're the problem, and something like that. Oh my gosh, what is that? I think it's a Olivia Rodrigo song. I just can't think of the name of it. Tell me you're the problem. Maybe it's just that. You're the problem.
You want to go with that and assume that the blanked out isn't the title?
I think it's to save us for some obligatory censorship here. So
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with that then, Sutton. Whatever you got is fine by me.
Okay, you're the problem. We'll say that's the name of the song.
Mick and JP.
Jay, I have good news for you. You will never have to play this song at a wedding, and if you do, something has gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, I was like, you'll never play this at a wedding.
This will not be. No, I was just trying so hard not to laugh when you were talking about DJing. Like, I hope no one's playing this at their wedding.
Correct. Song is also important for the fact that I believe when she accepted for this at the Grammys. She stated she was the first openly trans person to win a Grammy Award. I don't know if that holds up to scrutiny going back. I would want to say Switched on Bach is actually first openly trans person to win a Grammy. But Michaela had to save here because my brain went to That's What I Really Want by Lil Nas X, which is not right. And Michaela saved me with the right answer.
Well, and it might not hold up that Kim Petras was the first trans woman to win, but this is certainly the first time a non-binary person and a trans woman have won a Grammy, because this is Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras.
So the blank in the lyrics is actually just in the lyrics. There's no word there.
they you know what the word is, but they...
Yeah. So they're censoring themselves in the lyrics because there's just no word there. But yeah, I'm looking for Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras.
As soon as you started talking about it, yep, that's the one.
I mean, I'll play that at a wedding,
Jay.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
It's a great song. I had to sing the whole chorus before I got to the actual title, though. Like in my head, I was like, okay.
Because that's what that song does to you. You have to like go through and like I got to do the whole chorus. Like, all right, it's Unholy. So that's why it's an earworm. Because I'm like, nope, got to go to the end. Your next category is Know Your Herstory. Established in 1955 and lasting until 1995, what is the name of the first lesbian civil and political rights organization in the U.S.? It was founded as a social club in San Francisco, created the Ladder newsletter, and shares its name with a fictional contemporary of Sappho created by Pierre Louis in 1894. You can tell we're getting towards the end of the game because I think the questions are getting harder.
Yeah, okay, we can lock in.
Okay, Mik and JP.
I immediately, the first thing I said in the chat was, I think I have to hand in my lesbian card on this one. I saved it with, but I'm a cheerleader and I'm losing it now. Yeah.
I have literal zero inroads on this. Like, I don't even have something that I could even formulate as a guess as I'm like looking at the clues that we have from the question itself.
Yeah, I mean, the furthest I got is like thinking of Greek stuff. I threw out like, oh, I bet this is the society that started using the Labris flag, but I don't know the name of this society. It's like, so trying to think of Greek things, thinking of the Labris flag. I'm thinking of Minus's wife. Don't know what she has to do with Sappho. Can't remember her flippin' name, so it doesn't matter. Got any Greek names to throw out, JP?
None that I feel would even be educated guesses, which is why I'm like so very like normally I'm willing to like try to throw a joke guess or some sort of like thing that's riffing, but I have no ins on this. I feel so bad.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not even a real guess, but my best guess would be to work through Greek things, Labris flag, Minus's wife, but I can't remember her name. Pretty sure it starts with an M. I don't.
Mykonos is a Greek name.
That's the island, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking maybe Circe, thinking maybe Artemis. Artemis would be probably my
I think
best
Artemis.
Guess,
yeah, sure. Let's go with let's go with the Artemis Society, because I think no matter what we end up landing on, it has a very, very, very slim chance of being right. So let's
Artemis feels right.
Let's throw Artemis Society out and see what Jay and Sutton have.
It's a weird way of saying we'll see what Sutton has, but okay. Yeah, Mik, if you feel bad about this, I got my lesbian card in the most roundabout way possible. I was married to a woman for 15 years, then came out as trans, which is do not recommend that route. So I have less than nothing on this. I was gonna post as a guess her friend because I'm a Redditor. Like the name her friend. Sutton threw a name in the chat, and you know what? A name is better than no name, so I'm going to let Sutton take this one.
I know the name, and it was just trying to figure out, okay, what was it? I knew it was the blank of Bilitis, and I couldn't remember, what is it order? Is it society? I think I said sisterhood. Is it, what is it? And we just went with order. So the order of Bilitis is what we locked in with.
I have to say that watching that conversation was very difficult because you were so close. You're right. It's blank of Bilitis. It's daughters of Bilitis.
Oh, no. No. Okay.
I was like, no.
We were going to try just Bilitis, but you told us we needed more.
We'll put those half moral points in with the other half moral points you got earlier.
Actually,
I have one moral point. One whole moral point.
But yeah, I was looking through, and they their last chapter dissolved in 1995, but for 40 years they had this Ladder newsletter. They started as an alternative for women going to bars and the clubs. They wanted something a little bit more low key, so they started the social club, and then they got more active in the political sphere, and they just kept it up until the mid 90s. So yeah,
Cool.
It was a pretty cool society.
We need more queer social clubs, like tea time.
Yeah.
Like,
But let's bring sewing circles back.
yes. I was actually in a knitting group one time that was probably 75% queer women. But that was living in Olympia, Washington. So, I mean, that tracks.
I am so blessed to live very close to a very inclusive and queer-friendly board game cafe that has become my de facto queer social club.
Yes, we definitely need more queer social clubs, though.
Absolutely.
More just hanging out at noon on a Sunday, you know?
That's right. Your last category in the round is That's a Lot of Love. The Guinness World Record for the largest Pride Parade is held by a parade that happens yearly in what South American city, one of the most populous in the world, and has an average of 3 to 5 million in attendance each year. Looking for the name of the city.
If you're good, I'm toot toot beep beep all the way.
All right, I'm riding the Sutton train on this.
All right.
All right.
Locked.
Making JP.
I mean, we immediately zeroed in on this. Almost definitely has to be Brazil. It's a question of which city in Brazil do you want to go with? You want to go with Rio? You want to go with Sao Paulo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think of Sao Paulo as being like where most of the big fun Brazilian festivals are, but that's really the only lead I have to narrow it down between Rio and Sao Paulo.
Right, and obviously Rio has Carnival, which is kind of why I put Rio in there and didn't just immediately say, well, it has to be Sao Paulo. But I'm fine going with Sao Paulo just because, like, it seems right. It seems like it's a very large Brazilian city that could support a lot of people celebrating for Pride all at once.
Yeah, Sao Paulo feels more like I've heard about Sao Paulo Pride versus I've heard about Rio Pride.
Okay.
But that's really my only lead, is that sounds more familiar.
Before we talk ourselves into a bad answer, Santiago doesn't seem right.
No.
Buenos Aires.
No, I just don't think there would be that big.
And I can't think like Venezuela, Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay, nothing outside of that. I think, yeah, let's go with Brazil. Let's go with Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
All right. Sutton and Jay.
In the time took me to type Rio ? Sutton jumped all over this.
100%. This is something just I know offhand. Definitely Sao Paulo is the city that has the world's largest Pride parade.
I mean, if I think about it a little bit, it doesn't feel like Carnival necessarily would, because that's still steeped in some Catholic tradition historically. So I'm super on board with Sutton's guess of Sao Paulo, just geographically speaking, being the big city that it is that a lot of people forget about outside of the global South.
So it is the 4th most populous city in the world. I am looking for Sao Paulo. So great job, everyone.
Well done there, Sutton.
That is the end of round 5. Mick and JP have 135. Jay and Sutton have 100. Still a pretty close game, a high-scoring game. You guys are doing awesome.
We're still in it.
Yeah.
And we're still having fun.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Saying there's a chance. Your first category in round 6 is What's in a Name? Now, I've talked about Marsha P. Johnson on this show more than once, but never have I talked about what the P in her name actually stands for. It represents a phrase that she would say often in regard to her gender. It was also the name of a 2012 documentary about her life. What is this phrase? Rounding out to something here shortly.
Looks like we're going to lock.
So that means we have just a few seconds to embarrass ourselves.
Oh no, we none of that very long deliberation time happened. The listeners will have no idea how long it spent just waffling back and forth on like 35 different iterations of the same probably wrong answer here.
Yep.
Feel that.
Yeah. So we kind of started with, Jay, you were kind of leaning towards something like a 4-word kind of mirroring phrase.
Yeah,
so,
I have no idea where in the deepest recess of my mind I recall semi-recently reading up just a little bit, just a sousson on Marsha. The idea of like a 4-word parallel structured phrase came to mind, like A, B, A, C kind of word construction. And from there, you said the P might stand for pretty something. So we might be looking for pretty A, pretty B. And we just ripped on that for several minutes. And I have no effing idea. I may recognize it when I hear it, but I don't think I've heard it, is the problem we're at.
So I said Pretty Girl, maybe just that. And then the other thing just came to mind is like Pretty Little Thing. But I don't know if that's because thinking something sassy in response, and someone asking you a question, you just want to have something like, oh, you pretty little thing, that kind of thing. So
that doesn't feel right. You said Pretty Butch, Pretty Femme at one point, and that is the closest to a light bulb that came on for me at all in this entire process. And I'm pretty sure it's wrong, but I feel like it's got a similar energy to the right answer.
You know what? Let's just go with that and pray for daylight.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we also did so what starts with P, and then let's construct a phrase after that. We had pretty, we had perfect, we had proud, we had a bunch of different phrases that we were trying to construct off that. And then Michaela proposed, and Mick proposed.
Aw.
I don't think JP or I would be interested.
This would be a lavender marriage situation.
Yeah.
This would be a very complicated polycule, but I'm not here for it.
So we kind of started throwing out different riffs on using perfect as the P in a phrase, and JP threw out perfect in God's eyes. We kind of went down a rabbit hole of perfect as I am, perfect as it is, perfect for me, and landed on perfect as I am, kind of thinking of like, oh, if someone, oh, well, what is your gender? Oh, I'm perfect as I am. That's what we locked. We don't feel confident about it.
Yeah, we have about the same level of confidence in that answer as y'all have, although Pretty Butch, Pretty Femme is a good one that also seems well-reasoned there, too.
Yeah, but so does perfect as I am.
Well, I also like I think the documentary, because I saw it in a list, I think it's just a one-word title. And if it's just perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Marsha P. Johnson story. Okay, well,
we're going to find out shortly.
We'll find out. Yep.
Okay. So the good news is that you were looking for 4 words, a 4-word phrase, and you both did that. And they both start with P. This is more a kind of a flippant dismissal of when that question would be asked, and it's pay it no mind. So Marsha, pay it no mind Johnson.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, that's a thing I think I read recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pay it no mind. Yep. Okay.
Can I take Pretty Butch, Pretty Femme?
Absolutely.
No, I think in my chat I claim that as my gender identity.
You did explicitly say dibs on that gender identity.
Noted.
Your next category is you're a winner, baby. There are currently 18 EGOT winners. One of them also holds the distinction of being the first openly gay actor to win an Oscar, doing so in 1982. He'd been outed decades beforehand, shortly after being knighted and getting swept up in the homosexual witch hunts happening in the UK. Who is this actor? I'm answering the question kind of for everybody. I didn't say what the Oscar was, which acting Oscar it was for. I can tell you, though, it was for the Best Supporting Actor. So that's information for both teams.
We're locked in.
Okay.
I'm stuck on, there's this video that I can remember from like 10 years ago watching in college. My professor pulled it up, and it was some British actor going through a whole bunch of British accents nonstop, just like a tour of the British Isles. And I feel like we're getting close. Like that's who I'm picturing up as you're trying to come up. So you suggested the name Peter, and that.
Yeah, but I think that was 3 steps removed from the question at that point, because we were trying to figure out the actor in Citizen Kane. You were trying to think of the name Orson Welles.
Yeah, because
we're down a rabbit hole and a half on this at this point in the discussion, Sutton. I mean, I threw out the name Kenneth Branagh just because I know he was knighted and I know he was potentially EGOTable. That said, we seem to have come to Peter O'Toole, which maybe that's where I'm at. I don't recall hearing the name Sir Peter O'Toole is the only issue there.
Sure.
But you seem to have a little bit of thunder on this video that you saw a decade ago, and I did not see it. I cannot recall it. I'm really trying to think of renowned British actors that would have been householdable names in like the early 80s to win an Oscar. And you threw out Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart, which boy would fit great in this round. I'm pretty confident neither of them have an EGOT.
Right. And also, looking, if they won and they were outed decades before 1982, they were already, middle age or older by then.
I mean, the only actor I can think of who was, outed in that time frame was like Rock Hudson, but he certainly isn't correct here.
Peter O'Toole? Sir
O'Toole. Sir O'Toole of the O'Toole clan. I have nothing at this point. My brain is so fried.
Wonderful.
Let's do it.
Locking it in.
Mick and JP.
We immediately both threw out Sir Ian McKellen and then kind of tried to dial it down because we both were like, well, what's the Grammy? Like, he could have won an Emmy more recently. He's been on TV more recently. But then we thought maybe it's like a spoken word something or a, the soundtrack for some random stage production that he was in that was a musical, because JP threw out the very good point of
musicals can get Grammys. And for me, like the Oscar in 82, I was trying to think, okay, so who's winning an Oscar in 82? And I think this is really close to when the film of Bent hit. And so timing-wise, that's got Ian McKellen in it, and that seems like that's a match. So we did actually end up locking in with Ian McKellen.
Okay. This person was knighted in 1953. We're a pretty prominent stage actor at the time, and they got swept up in a series of arrests that were made around the city during these witch hunts that were happening in the UK at the time. He won his Best Supporting Actor for his role in Arthur, and this is Sir John Gielgud. Sorry.
You give me 100 hours and 100 guesses, I'm never saying that name.
No,
I feel better about the fail on this.
Well, he's one of 18 EGOT winners. I mean, it's not a big bunch. So his Oscar was for Arthur. The Emmy is what he won last. He won in 1991. He was I think he was one of the oldest winners of the EGOT, because he was 87 when he got the last one. That was for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries or special. That was Summer's Lease. His Grammy was for spoken word, Ages of Man. And I think it was for a drama recording. He's won 2 Tonys. Well, technically 3 if you count a special Tony. First one was in 1948. He was in the Outstanding Foreign Company for The Importance of Being Earnest, coming back to Oscar Wilde. And then again in 1961, Best Director of a Drama for Big Fish, Little Fish. So he's most prominently a stage actor who crossed over into film and TV. So unfortunately, no points, but good names from everybody. I'm not sure about Peter O'Toole, if he is queer, but Ian McKellen famously is out and proud of it, and I love him to death.
Well, that was one of the sticking points too, is we're like, there are only so many actors who've been out for 1,000,000 years.
Right. Yeah. For this particular person, it wasn't his choice. He was outed during all this terrible stuff that was going on. So
McKellen was such a great answer. I feel like I knew in my soul that he doesn't have the EGOT. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and
over and over on that for sure.
Yeah, and I also just did a quick wiki check. I had the original stage production of Bent in my head, which was in the late 70s or early 80s.
Gotcha.
And the film came out much, much later. So my brain was stuck on the stage production and replaced the stage production with the film, what have you.
Well, either way, we were not on track for the actual answers.
No, we were not.
But now we've all learned something, because I definitely learned that.
Hooray!
I knew who that guy was. I didn't realize that he was gay.
I think he's only ever been a name on a list that I've had to pull for research purposes from time to time. Your
last question before the gauntlet is a before and after. An Edgar Allan Poe poem meets the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 to give us the name of this former child actor and Disney star that came out in 2013.
Carmela, can we get the ask in chat?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I need to look at those words.
Yeah, Sutton, I think we both landed on something here. So we'll lock in.
Okay, so Mik and JP, you're welcome to talk.
Yeah, I just put together the before and after, because obviously Poem took me to Raven, but I'm just like, but where's the before? Oh, the after is just the winner of season 13, because from the Warm It Up Chris, Candy Muse was the runner-up for season 13 and was beat in that final lip sync by Simone. So you are right, because I was just like, there's no way it's just the Raven, because the as someone's first name feels really weird.
Yeah, and I definitely did not have, as we discussed earlier, I did not have the drag race component, but I did have the millennial height of Disney angle on this one. So yeah, we locked in Raven Simone.
Jay,
I guess we didn't lock it in, but
sounds like you are now.
We are now. We're about to.
Right. As for us, it was, Poe gets you to the Raven, and then as soon as I heard Disney Channel, I'm like, oh, that's so Raven Simone, who I'm an elder millennial, so I still remember her pre-Disney Channel work on that sitcom from the 80s that I don't know we need to name, but she was America's sweetheart there for a hot season or two. So yeah, we also landed on Raven Simone.
Well, we are definitely looking for Raven Simone. Sometimes she pronounces it Simone, but it's Raven Simone is what I'm looking for here. So good job, everybody. That is the end of round 6. Played a little harder than I kind of thought it was going to, but that's okay. We ended on a good note. So going into the gauntlet, Mik and JP have 145. Jay and Sutton have 110. Your gauntlet category is bye, bye, bye.
Carmela, how is that spelled?
B-I-B-I-B-I.
Cool, just making sure I got the spelling right.
Just thematic, just to confirm.
I think we've landed on a wager.
Good for y'all.
I had to pull out the slide rule and take my shoes off to count my toes. And that's unrelated to math. It's just a me thing.
We all know that you're in defeat, Jay. Making
We're
JP,
locked
have
in.
you locked in?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All wagers are locked in, so let's get into your gauntlet. Category is bye, bye, bye. Your first question. What is the name of the movie musical that is set to come out Christmas 2023 and will have Taraji P. Henson in the role of Shug Avery, a role previously played by Jennifer Hudson on stage and Margaret Avery in the 1985 non-musical film version of the story?
We're locked in.
Okay.
I think
Jay
it's a sign.
Sutton.
I think it's a sign.
Yeah, let's go with what we both independently jumped to.
Yep, we're locked in.
Next question. Orlando, a biography, is a 1928 novel where the main character switches gender during the story and has relationships with men and women, and was written by what author? The character was based on the author's very close friend, Vita Sackville West, with whom she had a very notable affair.
Quick linguistics question.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of this question, with whom she had a very notable affair, is she referring back to Vita, or is she referring to the author of this biography?
She is referring to the author.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sutton and I have locked in.
Okay.
Yeah, let's lock in with the first guess we had.
Okay.
We're locked.
And your last question in the category of bye, bye, bye. The 2013 single, Girls, Girls, Boys, by what American rock band, depicts a love triangle between two women and a man and has the lyrics, but girls love girls and boys, and love is not a choice.
Okay, great. I think we're ready to lock then.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we locked our last one that we threw out in the chat.
Everyone's locked in with their answers. Let's go back through the questions, and you guys will do the reveals. What is the name of the movie musical that is set to come out in Christmas 2023? And we'll have Taraji P. Henson in the role of Shug Avery. Mik and JP, we'll start with you.
I didn't realize that this was the musical version that they were redoing. I thought Steven Spielberg was just reshooting his film.
Yeah, I didn't either, but we both threw out The Color Purple.
Yeah, and that score is fantastic. I am now very excited for this film, more than I already was.
All right, and Jay and Sutton.
Like, I think I know that The Color Purple is a musical, but for some reason, because of the non-musical film version from the 80s, I can't think of it that way, which is not to say I didn't immediately say to Sutton, The Color Purple, ? As he said the same thing to me. So we both approached it first guess, best guess territory and locked in with The Color Purple.
Orlando, a biography, is a 1928 novel where the main character switches gender during the story and has relationships with both men and women, and was based on the author's close friend, Vita Sackville West. Jay and Sutton, what did you come up with for the author?
Yeah, so we started kind of trying to narrow it down, and I think, Jay, you suggested, we might be talking about Harlem Renaissance here, and then trying to come up with the name of an author, and Jay, you came up with Hurston.
Yeah,
right?
Zora Neale Hurston. It's a lucky possible guess on a lucky possible guess of being in the right literary kind of genre here. But now, we're locked in with it, but I'm second guessing because I swear there was an author whose name I cannot recall that the YouTube channel Philosophy Tube talked about in her trans coming out video from 2 years ago, that it feels like it's not Orlando a biography, but I can't pull her name anyway. So we went with Hurston, and that's what matters.
Okay. Mik and JP.
I'm going to put it to Mik because
Okay.
she had it.
I recognized the name Vita Sackville West, which was really all I was going on was, okay, it's a feminine a feminist author, presumably a feminist author from the 20s-ish. We went with Sylvia Plath. We don't feel super confident about it. We started to throw out F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife, and we couldn't come up with their name, and we felt more confident about Sylvia Plath. So, Sylvia Plath.
And the last question, 2013 single Girls, Girls, Boys was by what American rock band? Mik and JP, what do you got for me?
I threw out Panic at the Disco and then went, wait, they're not really rock. They're that kind of nebulous. What are they, sort of? At least these days.
And then you threw out, who does the Uma Thurman song? And I'm like, that's Fall Out Boy. And isn't Pete Wentz bi? And that kind of fits the theme of this being bi persons that we're talking about. So we went with Fall Out Boy.
Okay. Jay and Sutton.
Yeah, so
I don't know for sure that Pete Wentz is bi, but I do know for sure that Brendan Urie is.
Oh, no.
Now, I don't know if that makes us right.
Brendan Urie came out as Pan, right? But
Pan.
so the Pete Wentz thing, that's interesting. Because I hadn't heard the Pete Wentz thing either. But yeah, if you're thinking Uma Thurman Fall Out Boy, that would be right. But I threw out Panic at the Disco at first and thinking, Brendan Urie's band, this, kind of feels right. So yeah, we locked in with Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, our big internal debate was that the name of Brendan Urie's band? Because Sutton had Thunder on Brendan Urie, and I'm like, no, that's definitely the name of his band. That's where we ended up, and I think I'm going to be made a fool on this one in the aftermath.
I if I'm wrong on Pete Wentz, then my apologies on that. But we'll see.
Okay, so let's start with the question that you both agreed on. The movie that I'm looking for is The Color Purple, which has a couple things. I was actually talking to Waco about it, and that's why I wrote the question, because he was reading the book and he was asking me about him. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they redid the movie, but they actually had black director or something. And it turns out they do. the whole thing with this movie is going to be that, but it is based off the musical version of the story, not necessarily the non-musical thing from the 80s.
And Spielberg is
Hairspray.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Spielberg is still attached.
He's still attached to it.
Doing executive production work, correct?
Yeah, he's still attached. He's just not directing this time. Okay. The band that I am looking for is Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
As soon as I saw you go away from it, I'm like, no.
I just started, more than anything, I started second guessing whether or not they're considered rock.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rock in their discography.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's some of it's experimental rock, some of it's like synth pop rock, some of it's very kind of on the edge. But yeah, if you had to put them in one and only one genre, I think rock is probably the most accurate of the big 8 or 9 genres that you could put them in.
It does get nebulous. And same thing for Fall Out Boy too.
They're both are they pop punk? Are they like
Yeah.
They both occupy nebulous spaces. But I am looking for Panic at the Disco here. Mm-hmm. So that brings us to the author. The author I am looking for here is Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf wrote Orlando.
Crossed my mind, but shoot.
I think I always put her in the wrong era, late 1800s, not early 1900s.
Yeah.
Crud.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a name I have to shove into the early 20th century now.
Right.
Yeah.
Virginia Woolf notably had an affair, I think, while they were both married to other people with Vita Sackville West. And actually, Orlando was kind of like her, like a love letter to Vita, was one of the reasons why she wrote it. So both teams missed it. So we are going to be looking at wagers. Jay and Sutton, you were behind, so we will start with you. Because there's not a whole lot of ways to make this
exciting. Yeah. The thought process was, let's bet the lowest that we can. That ensures that if they bet not high, that we still have a shot, even if we're wrong. So we bet 40.
40. All right. So you will end today's game at 70, which is still a pretty good score. Mik and JP. So if you wagered anything more than, I think, 69 or anything more than 76, will put you at 69. So
we actually went back and forth.
Yeah, I literally had a sketch pad over here. I'm just like, okay, so if we bet to lock, then it leaves us with this. But if they bet to just cover us, it leaves them with that. It basically came down to, so either we bet to lock or we bet 0, and hoping that the difficulty of the back half of the game paid off or not. And I left the final decision to Mik.
And we went with 0 because we did not feel super confident about our bi knowledge, unfortunately. I think I said to JP, I said, if it's like specifically celebrities who are bi, I would feel okay, but this is a much broader category than that.
Right. And my immediate thought was probably going to be 2 actual celebrity questions and 1 question that's going to be like way back in the archives. And guess was right. And so the 0 is going to pay off.
Yes. Yeah, and JP specifically said this is a Carmela gauntlet. So we should err on the side of caution.
I know what my brand is. I know.
So yeah, 0.
And I knew that you knew that I knew that what your brand was. So.
All right. So with a final score of 145-70, Mik and JP, you're today's winners.
Well-deserved victory there.
Yes.
Well played all around. That was a nail biter all the way to the end. Good Lord.
Was. Gosh, we went into the midpoint, practically neck and neck, and then Carmela, you really pulled out the stops there in the second half.
Yeah, well,
I'm walking out of here learning a bunch of things, and that's
Absolutely.
what you want. So
yes, it's definitely what we want with these episodes. So now we're at the end, so it's time to do any shout outs, any causes they want to promote. Mik, we are going to start with you.
I want to give a shout out to the Odyssey Youth Movement here in Spokane. They're a really great queer youth organization, and they are working on expanding their programming. So if anybody wants to look them up, check them out. Odyssey Youth Movement is awesome, and they're cool folks. And right now they're in a really small, old house in kind of the gay neighborhood here in Spokane. So hopefully, I think they're working on trying to expand. They're awesome. And I just went in circles for 4 different ways to say that they rock. So please, someone else take the mic.
Love it. Sutton, let's move on to you.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that, that we have opportunities like this for representation, and, that Trivial Warfare extends, it takes time and dedicates an episode to Pride each year and the LGBTQ community. So I think just advocating to everyone out there that we can all do our part to create queer safe spaces. I live in Fargo-Moorhead. There is no gay bar. There's no dedicated queer space, permanent queer space here in the city right now. And there hasn't been for 15 years or so. And I know people are trying to get things started, but it's just been difficult. And I've created a monthly inclusion night that we host, third Thursday of every month. So if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area looking for a queer safe space, look us up, LGBTQ plus inclusion night. You can do this. We can all do this in our communities too, wherever you are, to create those queer safe spaces. And for those of you who are allies too, you can do your part to, clear the way for others who can step in and do your part to join in and support the efforts that people are doing too. So just encourage you all to, take up the banner, take up the cause, and create those queer safe spaces for everybody.
Well said, Sutton.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jay.
Other than the shameless self-promotions of finding me, Jay Borson, or Liquid Courage Entertainment, I do want to shout out a couple local organizations that I'm partnering with for various events in June for Pride Month. Will County Pride, Bolingbrook Pride, and Joliet Pride here in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. It's going to be a lot of fun to work with them. This is honest to goodness the first year that I'm doing anything Pride specific, because when I came out and when the pandemic hit, this is really that first kind of opportunity to jump into the community at large, and I'm really looking forward to it. And to Sutton's point specifically, we need more queer-friendly spaces. I definitely want to shout out my favorite one by name. That's Critical Grind Board Game Cafe in Shorewood, Illinois. If you're ever in the Chicago area and you want to go spend an hour with me doing an awesome thing at a fun place, hit me up. I'd love to introduce you to the staff and the vibe there.
Love it. And JP, we're going to finish off with you.
All right, guess I'm closing it out. First, I do want to echo Sutton's statement of thanking you and Trivial Warfare for hosting an event like this. It's so important to have a space for queer voices to exist every single year, and I appreciate the fact that Trivial Warfare has taken the time to give a space to have a show dedicated to this year after year. It's great to listen to this and the other communities that get celebrated with their own episodes that hit the feed, the Women's History Month, the Black History Month episodes. Like, the fact that Trivial Warfare takes the time to do that and recognize communities that need to have elevated voices is fantastic. My last statement is going to be the one that I use on pretty much all of my appearances. Support local artists. We are in Pride season right now, so chances are you're going to be at a fair or a festival that's attached to that. Look at people's art. Find people's art that is near you, that is looking to be supported and uplifted, because being an independent artist is tough and people need support. If you're not able to get out to see independent artists, my big thing is go to Patreon. There's so many people on Patreon that are creating fantastic art, that are creating fantastic spaces that are deserving of your support and cannot exist unless you are supporting these independent artists. We're getting on the tail end of things getting close to back to normal, but art is important, and supporting local artists is even more so.
Love it. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I had a great time. This is a blast. I love doing this every year. And for everyone out there, if this is your first Pride, if this is your 15th, 16th, we don't say how old we are, Pride. If for any reason you can't come out, I know things are stressful out there right now. I do see you. I do love you. I'm out here. I'm supporting you with everything that I've got. And I will see you soon. So for Mik, for Sutton, for Jay, and JP, I'm Carmela, and this has been Trivial Warfare. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
Right.
Thanks for listening to Trivial Warfare. Be sure to check out the revamped TRIVIALWarfare.com as your one-stop shop to submit questions, join the community, and get access to over 150 archived episodes. Warm It Up was written and performed by Matthew Stevens. This episode was edited and produced by me, Joel Sharpton. For help with your podcast, visit ProPodcastingServices.com.